Chapter 8 Shri Gurudev Datt Parabrahmane Namaha. Shri Shripad Vallabh narrates Shani Pradosh Wow. Shripad Shri Vallabh Guruji wanted more and more religious minded people to know about the glory of holy place Gokarna. Keeping that objective in his mind, he observed penance at Gokarna for a period of 3 years. From there, he proceeded towards Shri Shaila Kshetra with a view to bless his devotees. Shri Guruji stayed at Shri Shaila for some time and graced a large number of devotees who visited him. Thereafter, while covering several pilgrimage centers, he arrived at a place called Nivritti Sangam. Later, with a view to elevating his devotees, he arrived at Kuropur, which is located in the middle of river Krishna, the land where renowned sages like Sanak, Kashyapa, and others observed severe penance for a long time. During his stay at Kuropur, Shripad Guruji's infinite glories were exhibited. His fame spread all around. While Shripad Shri Vallabh Guruji was at Kuropur, there occurred an interesting incident which paved the way for his next incarnation. There lived in Kuropur a virtuous Brahman who was well versed in Vedas and scriptures. Along with his noble wife named Ambika, he was very meticulously and sincerely practicing religious activities and had a big heart for the problems of his fellow men. He was ever responsive to the needs and aspirations of the people around. By the grace of God, though he was blessed with everything, he had only one deficiency in his life, that is, children born to him could not see the light of the day. They lived no more the moment they were born. As they led a life of issue-less couple, they were terribly afflicted. For the atonement of their sins, they visited several pilgrimage centers, observed religious vows and rituals vigorously, and performed fire sacrificial rituals, thus praying before God to bless them with an issue. By the virtue of their pious deeds, finally they succeeded in being blessed by a son on an auspicious day having longevity. The son was conferred a name Anjaneya Sharma. Though the boy was growing physically and was healthy, he was mentally dull and stupid. He was not even in a position to grasp common knowledge. As he was the only surviving son, the parents brought him up very affectionately by paying proper attention. The parents had a feeling that everything would be all right with the boy when he attains the age of 8 years. As such, they performed his thread ceremony and initiated him into the sacred Gayatri mantra. The public used to talk among themselves that the thread ceremony was not going to serve any purpose. Even after the thread ceremony, the child's intellect did not improve and the child did not show any progress in his studies and in other affairs. In spite of all the best efforts made by the Brahman, that deaf, dull, and stupid boy could not grasp even the elementary education. The Brahman was terribly upset with his state of affairs and got worried about the future of his only son. Shiva Sharma, the father of that child, tried to teach by capriciously beating him occasionally. The boy used to cry at the beatings of his father. Unable to bear the cry of her son, the mother used to intervene in order to give protection to him. One day she told her husband in a dejected mood in a clear-cut manner that should the boy be subjected to beating anymore, she would be committing suicide. Since then, the father of the boy restrained himself from beating the child. The father of the boy, who was constantly worried about the stupid, uneducated boy, was disappointed in life and developed sickness. Due to the serious health problems, he suffered a lot and in one fine morning left for heaven. Whatever money Ambika had got exhausted soon. It was quite bothersome for Ambika to lead the worldly life with her foolish son. It was practically impossible for her to live with him. However, for the bright future of the boy, she was totally relying on God and used to worship wholeheartedly. She was managing her life by means of begging in Kuropura area. Thus, encountering enormous difficulties, she was leading her life with that helpless son. One day, her son had the fortune to be in the company of pilgrims visiting Gokarna Kshetra. He heard from them the glory of Gokarna Kshetra and Shri Shaila Kshetra. Since then, he was seen occasionally uttering the name of Lord Dattatreya. Digambara, Digambara, Shripada Vallabha Digambara, and rejoicing. In due course of time, the boy attained the marriageable age, but none came forward with a proposal to offer him the bride in marriage. People were teasing, disrespecting, and condemning him recklessly. They abused him that he, instead of leading a life of deadwood and troubling others, it would be better for him to commit suicide. The boy Ajnaneya Sharma was getting terribly upset with those abusive words. The disgusted Ajnaneya Sharma was ready to go to the banks of river Krishna for committing suicide. In spite of his mother's best efforts and words of wisdom, he did not yield. The worried, disappointed mother also got ready to commit suicide along with him. When both the mother and the son were marching towards the river Krishna for committing suicide, they saw the benefactor of the world, ascetic Shripad Shri Vallabha, taking a bath there at the river bank. The all-pervasive Shripad Shri Vallabha Guruji, who was aware of their intention to commit suicide, called them to be with him. Both of them arrived at the lotus feet of Shripad Raya and bowed down before his feet. Shripad Guruji inquired about the reason for their misery and their intention for committing suicide. In reply, she started narrating her miserable living conditions in the worldly life and the hapless condition of her only son. Further, she told Guruji that disappointed in the life she had come there with her son to end her life. She prayed to Shripad Shri Vallabha Guruji for a boon that at least in the next birth she should be blessed with a son like Shripad Shri Vallabha himself, who shall be an enlightened ascetic philanthropist and revered at all the three worlds, as she did not have one of that kind in the present birth. The compassionate Shripad Guruji once glanced at mother and son through his ambrosia vision and said, "O mother, listen carefully. Suicide is not a solution to the life's problems. Perhaps you are not aware that suicide is a formidable sin. You are possessed with this kind of son only due to the fruits of your deeds in the past life. Shun your thought of committing suicide and engage yourself in worshipping Lord Ishvara. At least in the next life you shall be giving birth to a virtuous son. To be blessed with a good son, you should worship Lord Ishvara daily at the Pradosh period heartily and blissfully and as per the scriptures. Certainly you will be blessed with an incarnate son like Shri Hari." Thus consoling, he started giving her a past example of a cowherd woman who had a divine son by worshipping Lord Ishvara. "O mother, in the past, a cowherd woman worshipped Lord Ishvara, practicing deep faith and ardent devotion in the Pradosh period, and begot a son, Lord Shri Krishna, who was a fully incarnated form of Shri Mahavishnu in Dwapar Yuga. You to observe that ritual and have a desired son effortlessly. The ingenious Lord Shankar shall certainly fulfill your desire." After listening to him, Ambika too felt that she should have a son like Shri Krishna by worshipping Lord Ishvara. Therefore, she prayed to Shri Guruji just to let her know in detail the manner in which the cowherd woman observed Shani Pradosh ritual and worshipped Lord Ishvara in order to please him. Then Shripad Guruji cited an event from Skanda Purana which explains the manner in which the cowherd woman worshipped the Lord. Shripad Guruji said, "Hey Devi, with a desire to have a worthy male issue, a cowherd devotee of Lord Ishvara observed the Shani Pradosh ritual with utmost devotion, as a result of which she possessed a son like Supreme Godhead Shri Krishna, the benefactor of the universe. Since you too have the desire to possess the incarnate son, you need to worship Shiva through the means of Pradosh ritual. In the past at Ujjaini city, King Chandrasena along with his close friend Manibhadra was observing the ritual of worshipping Shiva with earnest faith and devotion. On the day of Shani Pradosh, he used to worship Shiva piteously and get delighted. Pleased by their sincere and innocent devotion, God Shiv Shankar obliged him by gifting a very precious philosopher's stone which had the brilliance of crores of suns. By the virtue of possessing it, King Chandrasena enjoyed the celebrated status of unconquerable king. The king used to wear that Shiva gifted stone in his neck devotedly. Those who were wearing the dazzling stone were able to fulfill their wishes instantly. The philosopher's stone also had the virtue of transforming iron into gold. That stone was widely known all over the world. All were quite eager to see touch, and possess it. Even the king of kings were after that stone. Some of them were intending to own it by paying expected price, while others by force and a few others by negotiations. However, King Chandrasena was not prepared to part with it at any cost and under any circumstances. One day, suddenly, all the kings collectively attacked the city of Ujjaini. Since that day happened to be a Shani Pradosh ritual day, King Chandrasena and his companion Manibhadra were absorbed in the worship of Lord Shiva inside the temple. The king who had surrendered to the Lord was very affectionately engaged in worshipping Lord Shiva. His act of worship was witnessed by a cowherd boy. He called his friends too and showed them the scenes of worshipping. They felt that they too should worship Lord Shiva the way the king did. Together, all of them instantly erected a temple by using stones and decorated it with different leaves and flowers. Inside the temple, they placed a piece of stone on a seat and, contemplating it as a sacred phallus of Lord Ishvara, got engrossed in worshipping Lord Shiva. By observing several modes of worshipping, they were enjoying the rituals to their fullest satisfaction. For them, it was a sort of fun play. Even the parents of those children who noticed their mode of worship were very much impressed. Meanwhile, as it was already a night time and the time for the children to return to their homes, their parents arrived there to take the children to their homes. However, one innocent boy from among them was so much engrossed in the worship that he did not move from the scene of worship in spite of his mother's scolding. In an angry mood, the mother destroyed the temple and threw the phallus of Lord Shiva out of the temple, thereby causing obstruction to the worship. The boy, who was aggrieved by the separation of phallus of Lord Shiva, was in a mood to commit suicide. Suddenly he became unconscious. Lord Shankar, who was captivated by the devotion of that innocent boy who was ready to sacrifice his life for his sake, created one beautiful temple of precious jewels, and in that temple he placed a divine lustrous phallus. When the boy regained his consciousness, very soon from that jewel-studded phallus emerged Gauri Raman, Shiva Shankara, and told the boy to seek the boon which he wished to have. Then the boy prayed to the Lord that his ignorant mother, who disturbed his worship, should be forgiven for the crime she committed, which was against the god. To that Lord Shiva assured thus: Dear son, both the doer and the onlooker of Shiva Puja earn infinite religious merit. Your mother, who had witnessed the Shiva Puja, shall be reborn in Dwapar era by name Yashoda and become the mother of Supreme God Krishna. You will accomplish everything in your life. All your desires will be fulfilled soon. So, giving a boon, he disappeared in that phallus. The citizens of that city were surprised to see that the most astonishing temple of Lord Shiva, which was consecrated within no time. The enemy kings who had encircled Ujjaini shared their feelings of enmity, jealousy, and cultivated the feelings of friendliness. When King Chandrasena was coming out of the temple after completing the worship of Shiva with Manibhadra, it was already a dark night time. People were surprised to see the dazzling light which encompassed everywhere at that dark night. They were eager to know the reason for that. The king learnt everything about that event from the mouth of cowherd boy. They had a direct glimpse of divine glory being exhibited by Shiva, the lord of mountain Kailas. The kings hailing from different regions who had assembled there donated to the cowherd boy plenty of money and wealth with a princely honor and eulogized him. By the grace of Lord Shiva, the family members of that cowherd attained all prosperity and happiness. The boy told his mother about the boon conferred on him by Lord Ishwar, that from her womb Lord Shri Krishna would incarnate in the era of Dwapar. Speaking to Ambika, Shripad Guruji advised thus: O mother, the significance of Pradosh Vrata is boundless. Lord Shiva gets delighted by worshipping him through Shani Pradosh and will fulfill all your wishes to get a son like me. You trust my words and worship Shiva during the period of Shani Pradosha. Your wish will be accomplished. Shri Guruji, who wished to bless her stupid, foolish son, placed his hand on his head and pronounced the sacred Om couplet. Instantly there flowed in the body of that boy eternal energy, and the boy pronounced Om verse thrice before the gathering. By the blessings of Shri Guruji, that foolish boy attained wisdom and he began to speak many things about Vedas, scriptures, and logic were fluently and systematically. He saluted Shri Guruji with both hands and recited Purusha Sukta, a holy verse. The Brahmins who assembled there were astonished by looking at the spectacle of Shri Padraj Guruji. They praised him through several verses. They realized that Shripad Guruji was in reality the Lord Ishvara who had incarnated in the form of human being. The boy felt that there is no greater God than Shri Guruji and that Guruji himself is everything. Then he prostrated with 8 limbs, touching the ground before Shri Guruji and his mother. Trusting the words of Shripad Guruji, Mother Ambika devotedly observed the rituals of worship of Shiva on the days of Shani Pradosha. By the grace of Shripad Guruji, her foolish son attained rich knowledge, so also the fame like his father. They gave up the thought of abandoning their village and settled down at Kurupura itself. The people of Kurupura revered and honored him by holding him in the position of a learned guru. By the mercy of Shripad Guruji, their destiny of life was rewritten. Later, Anjaneya Sharma got married and led a very happy life and prosperous life with his sons and grandsons for a long time. Shri Guruji, who stayed at holy place Kurupura, also blessed several other devotees. The fortunate one who obeys the words of Guru sincerely succeeds in getting all his expectations fulfilled undoubtedly. By the grace of Guru, one's line of fortune emerges and the devotee of a Guru possesses everything in his life. Thus, sage Siddha elaborated Shri Guru Charitra to Namadhara. Here ends the 8th chapter in the most auspicious Shri Guru Charitra. Shri Gurudev Dutt, Shri Gurudattatreya Arpanamastu.